Hey, welcome back. I've been thinking about what I wanted to say in this episode for a while now because this one feels a little bit different. This isn't the episode where I give you like a checklist or walk you through the logistics. You've had 8 episodes of more me storytelling. But today I want to do something and kind of talk about things that I wish I kind of knew before, or like maybe not know before, but more like surprise and reminders that this is going to happen. Not the Instagram version, not the highlight reel of croissants and golden light on cobblestones, though, yes, that is a very real and very wonderful. I'm more talking about the other stuff, the things that nobody warns you about, the things you have to learn by living them. And right now, the ones that I can think of are about 5. And I think at least a few of them are going to land somewhere deep for you. So, I thought I knew what homesickness was. I felt it before, many times. Summer camps, being in South Korea for 2 years. And I thought I had a handle on it, especially by doing this multiple times. But what nobody tells you is that homesickness, when you've moved to another country, isn't just missing your people. It's missing the ease of your life. It's missing knowing how to do the small things, how to order something at a counter without rehearsing the sentence in your head first, how to navigate the pharmacy, how to make small talk with a neighbor without feeling like you're performing. It's missing the version of yourself that felt competent, really competent, that felt at home in her own skin. And the sneaky thing about this kind of homesickness is that it doesn't always announce itself. It shows up as irritability, as exhaustion, as crying at something completely unrelated, a song, a smell, a package of the exact brand of crackers you used to buy without thinking. And I share this to not scare you, but to give you permission to feel it without making it mean something is wrong. Homesickness is not a sign that you made a mistake. It's a sign that you love the life you had, and that you had the courage to choose something new anyway. Those two things can be true and coexist at the same time. I remember when November came around, and that was a time that I was just surrounded by beautiful trees, and actually, even earlier in that, there's beautiful fall colors. And it was really getting ready for the holidays, right? The markets, the lights, the wine, the cheese, things that should have made it feel really magical. And it was. Yet at the same time, during the Thanksgiving holidays, and now, mind you, it's not really about Thanksgiving itself, it's about the ability and the excuse that people use it as a time to get together. And for me, Friendsgiving was also very huge, living in Minneapolis and spending time with my friends. The ritual of itself was something that I missed, right? Being able to make plans with specific people, your family, having specific foods, the chaos and noise that happens around being around family members, and we would always do karaoke. And so when that's not there, there's a gap that no amount of vinchad can fill. Even birthdays too, because your birthday in a new country, especially in the early years, can feel quietly invisible. The people who would have shown up for you are in different time zone. The people around you don't know you enough yet that you love chocolate and hate surprises. AKA, I actually do love surprises, by the way. And here's what I want you to know though. It does get better. You build new rituals, you find your people. It may take some time, but as long as you put the effort and show up, you will find your people. You'll create a birthday tradition that's entirely yours, that feels like France and like you. But in the meantime, you are also allowed to call home and cry a little. You are allowed to call your friends and family in the middle of the night. You're allowed to FaceTime your mom while you eat the fancy cheese and wish she were there to share it. It's all normal. Missing people is not weakness, it's complete love. The other one that took me a little bit longest is things kind of move slowly here in Europe in general. France does not move at the pace of American productivity culture, and neither did Italy when I was there. It just doesn't. And if you come here with the urgency in your body, that constant need to be efficient, to optimize, to get things done, you will be quickly humbled repeatedly and without mercy. As I mentioned, I remember there was a short snippet that I was living in Turin, Italy with my then partner. And I remember the first time the weekend came around and Sunday, everything was closed. Like the grocery was closed, or at least early, restaurants, just, it felt like the city just shut down. And even in France, in Lyon specifically, there are certain stores that just like close early. Like for example, the grocery store that I lived by, it was like literally closing at 12 p.m. So you had a grocery shop before that on a Sunday. So the pace here is very different. Lunches are long. Processes take a lot of time. Customer service operates on a different philosophy than you are completely used to. And the bureaucracy, girl, do not even get me started on that. It has its own relationship with urgency, which is to say it has none. But here's what I've come to understand. The slowness is not inefficiency. It's just completely different set of values about what a life well lived looks like. It's the belief that the meal matters more than getting back to your desk, that rest is not laziness, that the afternoon is worth protecting. The pace of France will force you to examine why you're always rushing and whether that rushing is actually serving you. It slowed me down in ways I didn't know I needed, and now I'm fiercely protective of that slowness. I don't want to unlearn it. But I ain't gonna lie, the transition, that period where you're finding the pace instead of surrendering to it, that is a real adjustment. Give yourself time, give yourself grace. Eventually, you will stop fighting it. And then one day you'll realize you've been lingering over lunch for 2 hours and it feels like the most natural thing in the world. Oh gosh, yes, I say this with love and also with deep personal experience. French bureaucracy is its own ecosystem. There's paperwork. There's more paperwork. There are forms that require other forms. There are offices that are only open on certain days at certain hours and never the hours you were expecting. And mind you, don't forget the 2-hour lunch break that everyone needs to have. There are processes that seem circular, where getting document A requires document B, which requires something from an office that also wants document A. Mail gets lost, let me tell you. Packages take mysterious detours. Banks have requirements that seem designed to prevent you from actually banking. In fact, I remember when I asked my mother to send me a package of my mail from the US, and it was supposed to arrive, and apparently it did arrive, but then for some odd reason, they weren't able to find my apartment complex, and so they sent it back to wherever it was shipped. But then the thing is, you never get notification of that. No one tells you where it is. So for weeks and weeks and weeks, it was sitting there, and eventually they actually had to ship it back to my mother's address. So it was literally in the mail world for like 2 months. It's just wild. Everyone's polite about this in a weird way, which somehow makes it better and also worse at the same time. I wish I had someone told me to approach the bureaucracy the way you approach a puzzle, with curiosity instead of urgency, with flexibility instead of expectation. I wasted so much energy being frustrated by a system that was never going to change for me. And to be honest, till this day, it's still frustrating. There's just a lot of logistics and bureaucracy things that it's just like, I don't know how they keep everything together. What changed was me, though. I built relationships. I found the human behind the desk and treated them like a person. I started showing up with more documents than I possibly needed in a folder organized with duplicates. Sometimes, not all the time, of course. It really depends on what I'm attempting to get. By the way, getting a bank when you're not in France as a non-resident is the most difficult thing. So I strongly suggest if you do go visit there, open one up prior so that when you do come back to US and you're going to apply for your other visas, you actually have something open. The other thing I really learned is that persistence really matters more than efficiency in this arena. And I learned that the bureaucracy, as maddening as it is survivable. You will figure it out, but you will figure it out faster if you stop expecting it to work the way things worked at home. The other thing The last one that I do want to share, and it might be surprising to you, might not, and this is the one I'm going to end on because I think it's the most important. So before I moved to Europe, I had a version of myself I've been inhabiting for a long time. A very competent, very capable, very together version of myself who knew how to navigate her life. And then I moved to another country again where I couldn't read the subtext, where I didn't understand the unspoken rules, where I was, in many ways, starting from the very beginning. And that was super disorienting. It was also eventually the greatest gift I've ever given myself. I love the challenges and I don't like to be complacent. Because when you strip away all the things that made you comfortable, your routine, your social role, your automatic competence at everyday life, what's left is just you. And you get to decide from that quieter place who you actually want to be, what you actually want your days to look like, what matters and what was just noise. I honestly became someone slower, someone that enjoyed more of the Sunday coffee shops and brunches with friends. In the US, my Sundays was full of soccer games from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., no joke. I was someone more curious that walked more slowly, someone who has opinions about cheese, kind of, sometimes, and knows the name of the woman at the market and actually sits still sometimes, just sits without a phone, without a podcast, without being productive, and finds that enough. There's this beautiful park that I live by, and I love going there sometimes just to detach myself from the outer world. Truth be told, I didn't know I was going to become her. I don't think any of us really know that we're going to become someone different. I'm glad I did. And I think there's a version of you on the other side of this move who you haven't met yet. And she's going to be something. So here we are, 9 episodes. You came in somewhere around episode 1, maybe watching planes from a window, maybe just starting to let yourself wonder, what if? And here you are. Something has shifted. I can feel it even through the microphone, even through the miles between us. You're not just wondering anymore. You're getting ready. And I want you to know that I see that. I see the courage it takes to keep coming back here, to keep sitting with the questions, to keep choosing this dream, even when it feels impossible. If you're someone that is wanting some extra support, who know they want this, but who needs someone in their corner who actually has done it before, who can help them navigate the practical stuff, yes, but also the emotional stuff, the fears, the logistics, the, am I actually going to do this? I invite you to work with me to see how I can coach you and support you in your journey. And whether it's now or whether it's later, know this, you are already on your way. The woman who buys the ticket, she's already inside you. You just have to let her out. Ambiento.